Hi, today we'll see about the topic clinical toxicology. If we say about the clinical toxicology, we don't know anything about toxicity or means deep into the what is toxicity, what happens if any toxin enters in our body. So we'll see what in definition we'll see toxicology means nothing but it is a poison. Toxicology name itself it differs that means it defines it is a poison, whether it may be natural or it may be man-made poison. So this poison it will causes any harmful effects to the all living organisms. So only we'll define that as a study of natural or man-made poisons which causes undesirable effects to the living organisms. So it is causing some harmful effects. So this is about toxicology. And what is clinical toxicology? If we see here, we can say clinical toxicology. Clinical means it is completely related to the patient's hospital. So if it involves with the diseases and what is the illness related with this disease and what is the treatment, how we are going to treat that, how we are going to treat this condition, entirely this is related with the clinical aspect. So we call that as a clinical toxicology. For this it is related with the diseases and illness associated with either this toxicity may either it may be short term or long term, means acute or chronic. Okay, so first we have seen about the toxicology, means what is poison and what happens if it is enters with the persons. So only clinical toxicology. And now who are treating these patients are known as clinical toxicologist. For every disease, if a disease occurs, there definitely there will be a treatment. So this treatment will be given by a physician. So in that case, here also to remove the toxin, we'll call the person as a toxicologist. So it includes this includes a physician who is very familiar with the what are the symptoms which arises when a poison occurs, or which toxin causes which side effects, and these side effects, how we can treat these side effects immediately, how we can remove the toxin from the body. So entire this is deals by the clinical toxicologist. So he will administer a appropriate treatment for the appropriate condition. As the poison may cause this toxicity is a life threatening condition, he must be available of all the situations. So this is about the toxicology and what is clinical toxicology and who is a clinical toxicologist. And now toxicity. Toxicity means it is nothing but it is a range, means limit. How limit the poison can cause, means to how range it can cause harm to our body. If we see when we take a drug, if it is in low dose, it doesn't cause any effect to our body, means it is under subtherapeutic level. If it is in correct dose, means appropriate dose, it will show the therapeutic window, means it will treat the condition. If it is overdose, then it causes a toxicity. There it defines that the limit, if we cross the limit, it leads to the toxicity. So to how extent the substance will become poison, means a small dose will use to treat the condition and a high dose becomes poison. So this toxicity depends upon various factors like dose, duration, route of exposure, shape and structure of various chemicals, how and also human factors. So now we have seen about the toxicity, and now what is toxins, means which now we have seen what are the substances which means how extent the toxicity is reaching. And now toxins means what are the substances that causing the toxicity, that causing the poison. there will be many substances which produces poison means. So this is those toxins may be either bacteria or plants, animals, vegetables, anything else. So these toxins react with the some cellular components to kill cells and alter the growth and development. So toxic effects means it refers to the health effects, means these toxins how it is affecting our body. If we come to our if we come to our human body, we'll call it as a poisonous effect. What it refers to health effect means we'll call that as poison effect of the body. So if we see here, toxicity means to how range it is, it varies between the in the body. Toxins means what are the substances that causes poison or that produces poison, means to cause a harm to the body. And toxic effects means what are the side effects that is produced by the toxins. So this is about the main terms which we use in the toxicology. So if we see a patient, if we see a poisoned patient, how the physician analyze this condition, how he will treat that condition. There are 4 categories. Based on the 4 categories, it may be either one of the category. So first one is fulminant. Fulminant means this is based on the massive dose. Massive dose means this is a high dose. This type of condition is produced by massive dose. Means death occurs here very rapidly without any symptoms. Means physician even he cannot analyze it within that, means there is no time limit also. The death will occur very rapidly. And acute means it is produced by a single dose or several small doses which are taken in a short period of time. And the next one is chronic means the dose is very small doses but which is taken over a long period of time. And if you see the next one, subacute means which is a mixture of both acute and chronic poisoning. So either any one of these following 4 categories, dose must be, either poison must be present. So if the patient is with a high dose, the death may occur. If patient is taking a small dose in a short period of time, we can categorize that as a acute. And chronic means with a long period of time, even it may be a small doses. Subacute means which is a mixture of both acute and chronic. And here if you see, the most of the poison patients presents with the following features. Immediately after the poison is taken, the patient may produce some features, that is impairment of consciousness, that is he may be unconsciousness. If this unconsciousness is if this grade increases, he may go to coma. So first one is unconsciousness. And respiratory or cardiac failure, depression, diarrhea due to vomiting or dehydration, due to vomiting or diarrhea, he may go to dehydration, hypothermia, convulsions and cardiac arrhythmias. These are some of the following features which occurs immediately after a patient is poisoned with any of the toxin. So now we'll see what is the general management of the poison. Okay, before going to general management of the poison, we'll see how a physician will analyze, how a physician will diagnose the condition without any laboratory test. In case of poison, there will be a very limited time because emergency treatment will be required. So for the time in that condition, physician will not have any sufficient time for laboratory, for providing laboratory tests also. So how he will diagnose? Means there will be some clues for the physicians to diagnose whether how, means these clues will help the physician to give proper medication. So for clinical examination, the physician will go for the ocular clues. Ocular clues means several drugs, means some poison affect the pupil of the eyes. Means we know the terms mydriasis and miosis. Means so by mydriasis and miosis, by checking the pupil of the eye, he can estimate the how extent the poison is, and in some cases they may produce nystagmus. So by this condition, means by seeing the pupillary constriction or pupillary dilation, he may analyze the condition, and he will also go for first ocular clues, and he may also go for so olfactory clues are also useful. Means I told you about ocular clues. Now olfactory clues means you know that olfactory refers to nose, means by smell. Some poisons have very distinctive odors, because we can especially see, we can observe that in breath or in urine. If we see ammonia smell, we can observe that in urine, and in odor, if we see acetone or acid or coal gases, these type of smells can be easily identified, and some substances like chloroform or ethanol or carbon monoxide, these can be easily identified in the breathing. So this is about the olfactory clues, and how they will diagnose based on dermal clues. Dermal clues means when a person is ingestion of poison due to the any organophosphate or means any chemicals. These chemicals, some poisons have such type of dermal manifestations, like producing signs of sweating or changing in the pigmentation or dermatitis. Like these are the some symptoms which indicates a chronic exposure of the poisoning. And oral clues, like we can say that stomatitis, phenytoin and the sodium valproate, these type of drugs can produce gingival hyperplasia. So this is the careful examination what the physician should do immediately when the poison is ingested by the patient. This is a diagnosis, useful diagnosis for the physician. So what is the general management of the poison? There are the few steps, like a stabilization. First we have to stabilize the patient. After that we have to evaluate. Based on our evaluation, next we have to decontamination. Gut decontamination means stomach wash. And after that poison elimination and antidote administration. After that complete nursing and psychiatric care. So first we will start with the stabilization. If we say stabilization, this is the first survey should be started initially when the patient is taken to the emergency room or means to the hospital immediately after arrival. First we have to, as the poison is a life-threatening condition, we have to assess the patient very carefully. So this assessment is completely based on the 4 steps, that is ABCD. We'll call that ABCD as airway, breathing, circulation and depression of the CNS. By solving these, by observing these conditions, we can easily give treatment to the patient. So first, how we have to assess? the airway and breathing. In case of airway and breathing, in this condition the patient may we have to assess for the symptoms. What are the symptoms what are the symptoms we will see in this condition is first dyspnea and air hunger, hoarseness, stridor, intercostal and substernal reactions. In some patients cyanosis, sweating and tachypnea is also observed, and we need to observe whether ventilation should be assessed, means if there is an immediate need for the ventilation or not, it should be assessed if it is necessary and how extent it is used. The efficiency can be gauged by only by measuring the blood gases, and here the most important drugs is NSAIDs and also antibiotics like penicillins and cephalosporins. This is how we will assess the airway and breathing. And we'll go for the circulation. Circulation means definitely when the in some conditions the poison directly enters into the blood circulation. In such conditions, some drugs will produces directly it changes the pulse rate BP. Example, antihistamines and caffeine produces tachycardia, and amphetamines and cocaine, these produces tachycardia along with the hypertension. So some drugs induces cardiac arrhythmias and heart block like alpha adrenergic drugs and beta blockers. Here carbamate produces sinus bradycardia or AV. Okay, some drugs induces cardiac arrhythmias and heart block. Example, if we see alpha adrenergic drugs and beta blockers, and also here carbamates produces sinus bradycardia or AV blocker, and this if you see amphetamines, it produces sinus tachycardia. Is it clear? So carbamates produces sinus bradycardia or AV block, and amphetamines produces sinus tachycardia. So what is the depression of the CNS? If we see the depression of the CNS, generally we know the depression means it is a mental condition where the person will be unaware of means unarousable lack of awareness. In this depression there will be a grading scale. Based on grading scale we can grade the how limit, so we'll call that as a Glasgow coma scale. So if we with the rating of less than 8 on the Glasgow coma scale, we can assess the depression of the CNS. And there are very numerous cases for coma, but still acute poisoning is the most important factor. And you can see the grading scale features like what are the features, grade 0, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, like that. If I see the grade 0, what are the features we will observe in the depression condition? Means patient may be asleep but can be aroused, and like that grade 1 means semi comatose and which withdraws from the painful stimuli. Means painful stimuli means when there is any stimuli he can withdraw that. So you can refer that grade scale. So how we will manage this respiratory conditions? In this condition, how we have to manage? So management of the respiratory insufficiency. Here what we need to do? So in management of respiratory insufficiency, first we have to open the airway, means remove dentures. Airway means nothing but from mouth. So remove dentures. If any, dentures means nothing but it is a device used to um, replace the teeth, missing teeth. To replace the missing teeth, we will use dentures. So if it is present, we have to remove that. And next, place a position in a, means place a patient in a lateral position. And next, remove saliva, vomitus, blood or etc. whatever, if any, from the oral cavity by suction or finger sweep method. Suction means we know that it is a removing of the air by forcing the some fluids. So finger sweep method means we know that we know very well about that finger sweep method, which mothers used to do in our childhood, means in case of any blockage in our mouth or to during feeding. So it is nothing but by running the fingers into the mouth in order to clear the blockage of the airway or blockage of any food. So this is about the finger sweep method. By this method, first we have to remove the saliva, any vomitus or blood. So if required, we have to insert endotracheal tube, means to see what's the condition. So if it is any requirement, then we can go for the insertion of endotracheal tube. And if at all the ventilation is not adequate, then begin artificial respiration with ambu bag. Ambu bag means which is a handheld device which is used to, it means it provides some pressure, means ventilation to the patients, means artificial ventilation to the patient. And if oxygen therapy is required, it is depending upon the response, and the ventilation should be assessed. So this is about the complete management of the respiratory insufficiency. So next, if you go for the circulatory failure, if the patient is having any circulatory failure, first correct acidemia. Acidemia means we know that acid conditions, and if it is present, first we have to manage the acidic conditions and elevate the foot end of the bed. We'll call that as a Trendelenburg position. Trendelenburg position means nothing but patient foot end is elevated above the 15 to means 30 degrees above the normal position. And we have to obtain a ECG in the hypotensive patients and note down rhythms, arrhythmias, and also conduction delays should be, everything should be noted down. And vasopressors of choice includes dopamine and norepinephrine is preferred. And patients who are not responding to any initial fluid challenges, then we have to monitor for the central venous pressure, and also urine output on hourly basis is recorded. Here the patient with severe hypotension requires more hemodynamic monitoring. And also insert a 16 gauge or large peripheral IV line and administer a fluid challenge of 200 ml of saline and observe for the improvement in BP over every 10 minutes. So this is how we'll manage the circulatory failure. And if you go for the cardiac rhythms, we have to obtain ECG and insert continuous cardiac monitoring, and then we have to administer oxygen, and then we have to evaluate for hypoxia, acidosis, and electrolyte disturbances. Mostly in poison condition, electrolyte disturbances will be observed because patient may have vomiting or diarrhea. So in that case, most of the patients will have electrolyte disturbances. So and lignocaine and amiodarone are the first line drugs for stable monomorphic ventricular tachycardia. Here the monomorphic ventricular tachycardia means it is nothing but when the ventricular activation segment is constant. If in ECG, if its ECG pattern remains same, and the in this condition the ECG pattern is same, but ventricular activation segment is constant. So this rhythm is called monomorphic ventricular tachycardia. And in patients with impaired cardiac function also, lignocaine and amiodarone is required. And unstable rhythms requires cardioversion. Cardioversion means nothing but arrhythmias to normal rhythms. Means unstable rhythms means nothing but cardioversion means nothing but if any abnormal rhythms are present, it will convert into the normal rhythms. And atropine is used when bradycardia is present. So this is about the cardiac arrhythmias. And what is the management of the CNS depression? In CNS depression, we know that in every case where there is the identification of poison is unknown, means if we don't know what the poison, then we can go for the 3 antidotes. What are the 3 antidotes? These 3 antidotes are called as coma cocktails, should be administered as IV. So these coma cocktails has dextrose 100 ml of 50% solution, thiamine 100 mg and naloxone 3 mg. And all patients with a depressed mental status should receive 100% of the oxygen mask. So this is the management of CNS depression.